Hey guys, this is Jacques from MakuluLinux, and yeah, today we're just going to dabble a little bit with Core. I kind of just want to quickly go through where Core stands with development, and yeah, so you guys can see what's been done, what to expect, and probably what to expect in the beta build that we'll probably be sending out very soon. I don't want to make promises on a certain date because there's still ongoing development, and I think the guys wouldn't mind waiting a few extra days if it means they get some, new feature or something. Anyway, so there's been a lot of expansion on especially GUIs and a lot of front end stuff. So let's just quickly run through some of the big changes. You'll probably notice one of the first things is that the main menu on the bottom of the bottom dock has now a red M, so that's something that's new. I'm pretty sure you didn't see that in the previous videos, but let me quickly explain. Core is a dual dock tri-menu system. Okay, so let's quickly just run through the docks so you understand. We've got two docks. The bottom dock, which used to be Plank, we used to use the Plank dock, but we moved over to the Cairo dock, so we now use the Cairo dock. However, we've had to actually create a theme for it. So it's themed exactly the same as the previous dock that we used. So you wouldn't really notice any difference. You might notice some difference with like the shading and the coloring and the fonts of, these pop-ups and so forth. But other than that, the docks look identical. So from a physical point of view, you're not going to notice much difference. But when it comes to actual configuration and features and stuff, Cairo dock has far more features. It's much more feature rich than Plank. And of course, the big reason that we switched to the Cairo dock was because of this workspace switcher. I was actually looking for a better dock than Plank because we outgrew Plank, and the workspace switcher was what actually drew me to Cairo, because I wanted a better workspace switch widget, and Cairo dock provided that. So it was like killing two birds with one stone. Okay, so you've got Cairo dock at the bottom, which is your main dock, and then we've got the XFCE dock, which is like a little mini dock on the side. Now, how we've laid out Core is that your favorites and apps, your favorite apps as well as open apps, are hosted in the bottom dock, but all your system apps like your volume and power and notifications and the desktop clock and network and shutdown buttons, logout, shutdown, and anything else that pops up system related, like your top icons kind of thing, that all gets housed inside your little side dock. Okay, so you've got these two docks here, dual dock, and it might look weird at first, but trust me, it works really well with this being plainly just for your apps and this one being for system. Everything's system related. And if you open up a window and you notice that if you push down onto a specific dock, it will actually, that dock will minimize. If that space is needed, the dock will minimize. The same with the side dock. If you move something to the side there to cover that piece up, the dock will disappear. However, if you move it above there, the dock stays. Okay, so it's only once you actually get into that field of view of where a button is, something that is physically there, then it will disappear, but other than that, it will stay there. The same with this. If you actually took this and you just moved it around the dock, it won't affect the dock, as you can see. But the moment it gets onto one of the apps of the dock there, it will actually disappear. So if you full screen, the docks will be gone. You can always move the docks back in with your mouse. You can just drag it to the side or to the bottom and bring up one of the docks. If the space is not needed, the docks will appear. If the space is needed, the docks will disappear. So very simple, easy, straightforward. You can drag items onto the dock and off the dock, although by default the dock is locked, and this is something that's different to Plank. You can unlock the dock easily. Just right click and there's a tick there to lock the icons. So you just untick that and then you can drag items off. There's an easy explanation to why it's locked. It's so that you don't drag and move items around on the dock, because unlike Plank, in Cairo it's so much easier to drag something accidentally. Like you click and hold the menu too long or whatever and it will move next to another icon. So you got to watch for that, and locking the dock really takes care of that, so that problem doesn't come up. Also, the nice thing about Cairo Dock is it actually has a menu, a very straightforward, simple menu. And so instead of us having to use like a third-party menu, we can now just use the simple menu from Cairo Dock. So it's like three birds with one stone, really. It's an easy menu. It's simple. It's straightforward. And yeah, it does what a menu is supposed to do. It even has a search bar. So, and it can be configured too. So one of the three menus on the dock is your main menu. Now, we actually had the little ring menu that used to pop up when you push the main button, but we didn't always have it that way. Originally, Core had the ring menu in the corner, the full screen menu in the other corner, and we had the main menu here. And then we switched it to the putting the ring menu into the dock. So that came later. So we've gone back to the original way that Core used to be when it first came out, with the main menu being in the bottom dock. We just find it's easier. People seem to like it more. And of course, then we have the ring menu in the bottom corner. So you can just hold your mouse, just move your mouse into the bottom corner, hold it there for a second, and the ring menu will pop up. You can also access the ring menu by just right clicking or just clicking main menu on the desktop. That will also bring up the ring menu, or just tap your Windows key, your super key. The little Windows super key on your keyboard will also bring up the ring menu. So the ring menu is still the main menu because you can access it, 4 different ways. You can access it via the bottom corner. You can access it via the right click menu, or via tapping your Windows key, your super key. So 3 ways. 3 ways you can access it. So it is still considered the main menu. However, straight from the dock, you'll just have this plain little simple menu, traditional menu. And then of course you also have the menu in the top corner. If you just hold there, you've got this nice little full screen menu that sort of looks like a GNOME 3 overlay. You can either just tap on these little windows or just scroll your mouse wheel, and it even has a search bar. So if you search, for example, help, and open help and support. So very nice. You've got the ring menu in the bottom corner, you've got the full screen menu in the top corner, and you have the traditional menu on the dock. Now people might think, why 3 menus? Why not just have one menu? Well, I suppose you could, but this is Core. It's supposed to be unique, it's supposed to be different, and it's supposed to be a little wild. I mean, that's what makes the OS awesome. That's number 1. Number 2, you will get people that like the main menu, and so they'll use the main menu. But you'll also get people that like the ring menu, and so they will use the ring menu. And then you get people that like the full screen menu, and so they'll use the full screen menu. Do you understand? Whichever menu you like is the one that you will use. The other 2 you'll probably ignore, which is fine, because it caters to all 3 types of people. The people that like the ring menu, or the people that like the traditional menu, or the people that like the full screen menu. Everybody's taste is different. Just because you like one menu and you don't like the other 2 doesn't mean everybody else is going to be like that. You're going to get people that are going to like this or that or that. And so it caters to a much larger crowd. And you'll get a 4th type of person who always just goes to the closest. So if he's up doing something up here, he'll just go to the full screen because it's closer. If his mouse is down here, he'll just go to traditional because it's closer. And if he's doing something down here, he'll just go there because it's closer. And so he'll end up using probably all three menus. I sometimes do that. So really, it caters to a much larger audience when you actually have options like that in the OS. That's the second reason. The third reason also is that with three menus, it also brings a kind of a stability to the operating system. You never know when some package comes out and breaks something, breaks a menu. You've still got two menus that are functional, So that's always a fail-safe as well. I always see that, although that's unlikely to happen, but it could. And so, having three menus is nice. You can also drag from the traditional menu, you can also drag things onto the actual, as you can see, you can drag things onto the dock from the traditional menu. Easy, just find something there and just drag it on there. But you cannot drag it off until you unlock the dock. So let's just go unlock the dock, and now I can just drag and release and it's gone, and I can just relock the dock as well. So you can drag and drop items onto the dock. Of course, the dock gets larger with more icons on it. It will just keep expanding until the whole screen's full. You can resize the icons as well. You can go crazy. You can theme it, whatever. By default, we've got the main menu, the files, your file manager, terminal. We've got the web browser, which is Google Chrome, software center, Synaptic package manager, software updater, settings manager, and the workspace switcher. Okay, so it's very simple. That's pretty much stuff that everybody will probably use mostly anyway. If we look at the settings manager, you'll see it's really nice and complete. It's got a lot of stuff in. Pretty much anything that you need back end is already there. So I'll get into that a little later. Now let's move on to the actual file manager. The file manager is Nemo, and the build is 4.4.2. So we use Nemo as a file manager. Some of the earlier core builds used Thunar, which Thunar is nice. It's just that our themes that we actually maintain suit Nemo better. It just comes out, the colors just come out better. And I've always just liked Nemo. I like the layout. I like the shortcuts. I like the links. I like the options. I like the way it feels. And so I've always just liked Nemo more. And I guess when I worked on the themes, I was doing it inside Cinnamon, and so they just also suit Nemo better. And so we use Nemo now instead of Thunar. Okay, so you've got all the Nemo options. You've got open as root and move to rubbish and so forth. And if you go to properties here, you've got the permissions that you can set. And all the standard stuff you'll get with Nemo. You've also got these little indicators that show you how much space your hard drive is taking, even though you haven't actually gone and checked. You can see it on that little colorful slider there. So it's nice. So Nemo is the file browser. We did make a couple of customizations to it. As you see, you've got a couple of extra shortcuts here, turn some stuff on and off. It's been tweaked, but it's nice. Okay. Okay, so Nemo is the file manager. You've got two terminals actually. You've got both XFCE terminal and GNOME terminal included in core. Certain apps use ones, other apps use others. I think by default, if you open up something, it will open up in XFCE terminal, but there is also a GNOME terminal that exists in there. The software center, let me just start this up. This might take a while to start up. I'm in Vietnam and the internet here is not the best, and I don't think it's actually, I think this is the first time I run it. So we'll come back to that. Let that load in the background. That will take like a minute or something. Synaptic package manager, I've got that open now. So while that's loading, we'll come back to that. Software updater, it's a very simple update manager. You open it up, you can set your location, and you hit updates, and it's automatic from there. It does actually check for updates on both the Ubuntu repos as well as the Makulu repo, so it's like a 2-in-1. It's very simple, easy GUI to use. Let's go back to Software Center and see if it's loaded. Downloading application ratings. We've got a problem here with the internet currently in Vietnam, which I know about. So everything's just extremely slow. So yeah, I knew opening up this would take a while. Okay, so if you open up, the categories are at the bottom. I noticed a couple of reviewers didn't notice that. Maybe they haven't opened up the Software Center in quite a while, but it used to be at the top, and GNOME has moved the categories to the bottom. I always see the reviewers sort of scratching around here, but they never scroll down. Anyway, the categories are at the bottom, so you can go into them if you want. I don't know why they put them at the bottom, but it's at the bottom. If you actually open up something here, like let's go to Opera, and let's load that. Sorry, slow internet. You'll see here that it is Snapcraft. Okay, so Snapcraft is installed, fully supported. Some apps will be FlatHub, because FlatHub is also is supported. This one's also Snapcraft. OBS, I think that might be FlatHub. Let's have a look here. No, it's also Snapcraft. Okay, well, you've got FlatHub and Snaps installed, so both of those are installed, which is nice because you've got a huge variety of software because of that. Okay, so Software Center, you can go crazy. Synaptic Package Manager, everybody should know that. Basically, the difference right now, the reason why I put them both on there really is that GNOME has moved away from the Ubuntu, like pulling stuff from the Ubuntu repos. So you'll notice that a lot of the times when you're searching something in the Software Center, it won't actually show you options from the Ubuntu repository. It will show you options from like the Snapcraft and FlatHub, but it won't show all the options from Synaptic Package Manager. So I tend to usually install stuff from here first because it's usually a smaller installation. Unless you want stuff in containers, then you can obviously use the Software Center. I suppose it all boils down to preference. Anyway, this current core build has almost nothing installed. As you can see, some stuff under accessories. Graphics, you got Nomax, which is image viewer, nothing else. Under internet, you got Google Chrome, a cloud backup. Multimedia, you got MPV player and volume control. And then under system, you've got quite a few things, but you know, that's just back-end system stuff, and Gparted and GDebi and so forth, boot repair, bleach, but it's just all system tools that most distros have anyway. So this is a very bare bone OS, basically, in its current form. That doesn't mean that we probably won't release a full build. We probably will. Just that this is the development build, and therefore it is a little bare. So out of the box, that's it. You got a bottom dock. You can drag items onto it. As you install items, you might want to put stuff on. The side dock houses your system information icon. So it's a very easy to understand desktop. You got two docks and you got three menus. Nothing much hard about that. You'll notice the clock on the desktop. Now I know quite a few people have been watching a lot of the clock videos, so you'll know all about the clock, but there's probably a lot of people that don't, so I'm going to just quickly run through that. So you got a desktop clock. That's the only clock on the system. You don't have an actual clock or digital clock anywhere else. You can add one to Cairo. There is an option for it, but apart from that, it's not exactly the most beautiful clock, and so I don't like it. I don't add it. But you do have a desktop clock. It looks pretty nice. It's got the clock and the calendar, the day and the date, and then it's got a system information. Very nice breakdown of the system information. You can add your weather if you want, and it's got a little news feeder that we run from a RSS script. So once in a while I'll send some news through, and we'll update here every like couple of minutes or whatever. So that's nice. The desktop clock can be controlled from either your settings manager. There's a desktop clock option there. Or you can just right click and choose desktop clock. On the desktop, you can just right click, choose desktop clock. Or you can just click on the widget here in the bottom dock. If you open up the clock, you'll see you've got some options here. Firstly, you've got a refresh option. This is nice for if you're playing with resolutions or multi-monitors or whatever, and your dock your clock sort of goes off center. It's like stuck in the middle of the page or something, or just something goes wrong with the clock. You can just click refresh clock. It just takes a second, refreshes it, and resets it to wherever it's supposed to be. So that's quite handy. You got a desktop icons button, and this basically just lets you turn the desktop icons on and off. And this is handy for a specific reason, and that is if you want to move your clock to the left where the desktop icons are. As you can see, now the clock is on the left. So all these options that you enable or disable just It's instant, almost instant. So yeah, some people might feel comfortable with the clock on the left. They don't want desktop icons on, so they can just turn them off. And if you're the guy that likes the clock on the right, you can just leave it on the right and leave your desktop icons on. You can also leave the desktop icons on, but you can go to customize and you can set the turn off the auto arrange. That way you can move your icons to the right and move your clock to the left. So you do have that option as well. Okay. You can set the clock to 12 hours. As you can see now, it will say 4:08 p.m. or 24 hours. Now it will say 16:09. So you've got a 24 hour switch there. You've also got an option to change the clock to black or to white. Okay, and this is specific for backgrounds. If you're using a very dark background, then obviously you want the light clock to show. Then you use a white clock, and on a white or lighter background you use a black clock. I mean, if you had a very dark background now, this black clock would hardly be visible, but the white clock will stand out nicely. So black and white, perfect. It's the two colors that work on any wallpaper anywhere. So those are the two color options. Digital is the current clock, but you can also change to analog. So now we have a nice analog clock. The analog clock gives the same information as well, but it's got the minute hand, the hour hand. These are the seconds that are ticking over here. You've also got these little core indicators. These are your CPU cores. So those get indicated, and then it's got the RAM usage. This over here, the stick bar over here is the RAM usage, and then you've got your hard drive usage on the outside as well. So it's got some indicators that make it nice, and of course it's analog and it's a nice looking clock. You can also obviously change it to black color or to white color. Now in this particular wallpaper, the black probably looks better. Anyway, so you can choose between digital and analog. So it's a nice variety of options to make the clock really nice and customizable. You've got some additional options here. We'll get into that in a second. Let's go to weather settings. Now weather settings over there, as you can see, current weather, it says please set weather zip code in clock options. So if we go to clock options, there's weather settings. You can just follow the instructions here. You set Celsius, Fahrenheit, and you can enter the code. The code is your like city zip code, but it's not your postal code, it's your weather code. So you need to actually go to the AccuWeather website. If you click get code, it will take you straight to that page. So you click here, get code, it will open up in a browser on that page. There you can just enter your city, and then at the end of the URL there's a number. Like, let's just do that quickly so you guys can see. Internet slow, but what the hell. So I chose get code. That's it. I went get code, and the browser is open now. As you can see, it went straight to AccuWeather. Here I will type Da Nang because that's the city I'm in, Da Nang, Vietnam. And once the page loads, whatever your city name is, there's the code. At the end of the URL, it will have a code. Okay, once the page is loaded, that's the code. So as you can see there's the code. It's the same code. So all I do is I enter that code. It's 352954. So it's 352954. Enter. And just give it a second and it will close. You'll see the clock will change as well, and as you can see there, the weather is now loaded to my city. So now it says current weather, partly sunny, 19 degrees Celsius. Weather tomorrow, 14 to 24, partly sunny and pleasant. You can also change it to Fahrenheit. If you choose Fahrenheit, it will refresh with Fahrenheit, or choose Celsius again, go back to Celsius, and you'll see there. So very nice, very easy to do, straightforward. The instructions tell you everything you need to know. Reset weather, this option is for if you want to change that, because once you set the code, you can't just simply go enter a new code. It just doesn't work that way. Before you can enter a new code, you need to reset weather. Now if you click reset weather, it will actually reset the whole script. It will go back to 0. There's no weather options there. In fact, it will reset the script to a white digital clock as well. So it will like if you had a black analog, it will wipe all of that out. You'll have to customize those as well. It tells you here. So now, after you've reset it, you can now go enter a new code again. So you can go get code, go through the process and enter a new code. So that button is basically just if you want to change the existing code to another. Maybe you move to another state or another country or something like that, and you want to update your weather. That's where you would use the reset weather button. Additional options, very easy. You've got your system info over there. You've got your weather in the middle, and you've got your news feeder at the bottom. You cannot turn off the clock. If you turn off the clock, how will you know the time on your system? You won't. But maybe you only want the clock and you don't want all these additional options. So you can turn off the news feeder. There we go. See, no news feeder is gone. Open up additional options again. Let's turn off weather. There, weather is gone. Okay, open additional options again. Turn off system information. Gone. Now we've only got a clock, and it will stay that way even after reboots. So if you just want a clock on your desktop, you can. You can just open up the desktop clock, go to additional options, and turn off. Any of these three that you want on again, you can. If you want system information back, there we go. If you want weather on, there you go. If you want the news back on, there you go. Now it's all back on. If you just want the weather off, there we go. Now you've just got those two. If you just want the news on, but everything else off, there you go. Now you've only got the headlines. So you can turn anything that you want off and anything that you want on, obviously. So very nice that you can fully control the clock. You can turn off parts of the script that you don't want and leave the other parts running. You can change the black and white, analog to digital, 12 to 24 hours, left to right, weather, refresh, blah blah blah. You've got nice options. So that's the desktop clock, and it's massive change to the previous core, because the previous core had almost no options. So, you were stuck with a clock that you could change to black and white, and that was about it. We've added so many options here. This is just really awesome. So that's the clock. Okay, the other big thing that you guys are probably going to be watching for is okay, well, we've got system settings in here, which takes you straight to display. Just on right click, system settings, takes you straight to display, which is nice. And then we've got the themer, which is probably going to be the next thing most people concentrate on. And this is work in progress. I'm not done. There are a couple of changes I still want to make, but out of the box, let's just have a look, face value. Let's just take a look at this. Now, I'm not going to click the mouse cursors because, I don't know, there's a thing with the Camtasia recorder and me being inside a virtual machine, it doesn't capture the mouse on the video, so pointless. But they do change and they do work. And I'm actually looking to expand and add a couple more. So I'm going to have a much bigger variety of mouse cursors, which is nice, not mouse pointers, which is nice. You've got mouse pointers that you can choose from. I'll expand on those. And you've got borders that you can choose from. As you can see, you've got different borders. They're all different, like none of them are really the same. So you've got these borders that you can choose, and they change colors with the themes, which is really nice. So if we, for example, take that border, and you've got color themes that you can choose from. So if we choose red, the border will become red. The icons will come, desktop icons, as well as the icons in the file manager. The highlights will become red. As you can see, all the highlights, the menus become red. So everything becomes red. Okay, so even the buttons highlight that red stripe there. Of course, as you know, the borders are red, so everything's red. If you choose purple, everything becomes purple. You choose green, everything becomes green. And you have 23 color variations. Wow, that's a lot. 23 color variations, okay? And all these borders will change with every color. So they are all in one. That's why we selected them. It's really nice. Doesn't really matter which borders you choose, they will change colors with a theme. So it's not only just changing color, it's not just icons that change. It's the actual borders that change, the buttons change, the highlights change, everything changes, as you can see. So just changing a color already makes your whole desktop look different, okay? So that's really nice. I'll go back to the orange. You also have some dark themes here. You got a white on black, a red on black, a white on black, a red on black, and a blue on black, or blue on charcoal, whatever you want to call it. So that's nice. So you've got some dark themes that you can choose as well, 3 dark themes. So the people that do like dark themes, there is a couple there for you to choose from. So that's the themer, and it's really nice. You can just access it straight from the desktop, right click, change themes, or you can open it via the settings manager. There you go, change themes. There is also an advanced theme manager, which is the default one for XFCE actually, and here you can go through the various options, and the only reason I really included this is if you want to load your own themes. So if you want to start adding your own custom themes, they will not work in our themer. Our themer are for the themes we maintain, not for third-party themes. So if you want to add a third-party theme, sure, you can. Core supports it. But then you're going to have to install it and then come select it here in the advanced theme manager, which is fine because you can, it does support it. Okay, so there is the advanced theme manager, which is basically just the appearance manager for XFCE, which allows you to set icons and styles and so forth. And you want to do window manager, you can come select here as well. So you can add your own themes in a nutshell. Now, going back to the theme manager, one of the other things that people are probably going to notice is the 3D on off. Now, previously in Core we had the actual on off, but here it's just on because it's off, so it's on. And when you switch it on, it will now obviously turn on 3D. As you can see, let's open up something. You see 3D's on. Most people probably notice there's actually a really nice border theme now, quite different to the one we used before, which is, that's true. This is pretty, really pretty. And it's got all the effects, wobbly windows, and so forth, so forth, so forth. We'll get to that in a second. What I actually want to show you is if we go back now and open up the themes in 3D, change themes in 3D, you'll notice that this has changed, the actual GUI. The borders that used to be there, that's gone. The mouse pointers are still there and the colors are still there. The reason the colors are still there is because they still operate. If you click colors, you'll see there, immediately it changes there. Everything else still changes. Maybe not the border, but everything else still changes color as it should. You'll also notice with the 3D on, there's a lot more transparency. Can you see the transparency on all the menus? It does look funky. Makes it look really nice. So when you put on the 3D, you'll automatically notice there's quite a lot of transparency on the system, which is nice. So even the borders basically transparent with a black button. Okay, the reason the borders is missing there is because once you enable the 3D, it actually changes to a different window manager, so those borders will not operate. Instead, you'll be using 3D borders, which will then open up the Emerald theme manager, which will then allow you to change borders. And there's quite a lot of themes here, lots and lots of borders that you can play with. So if you don't like this one, you can go change to another one. You can also import and install your own Emerald themes, should you wish, or you can edit the existing ones that are there. So you can go wild. There's lots of options. 3D settings is another option that's there, but only when this is turned on, and that will open the Compass config manager, and here you can go crazy with settings. Now, I have to point this out, and the reason is that somebody did on the initial release of Core, I think it was the beginning of this year, or was it the previous build last year, somebody was complaining about, oh, why didn't they turn this on in 3D settings, and why did they do this, and I prefer this setting, but they did that, and kind of complaining about certain settings being off and certain ones being on. Now, you have to understand, when we build for everybody. We don't build for one person's personal taste. So there might be things that are turned on that you don't like, and there might be things turned off that you do like. You can turn them on and turn them off. We don't stop you. We just put some general settings in here to make life pretty much, make it functional and make it working, put it into a working position, where it actually functions and has some effects and looks nice, and it functions. If you want to let's go down here. If you want to actually where am I looking for now? You want to snap your windows. You wanted to snap windows. Tick it, put it on, turn the feature on, let it snap. The reason I left it off is because when you leave snap windows off, you can actually drag it between the cube. You can literally do this. So that is the reason I left it off. But if you prefer it on, then put it on. Don't go on the YouTube and bitch because we didn't put it on for you. Anyway, so I just wanted to say that because I know a couple of reviewers might just do that again. Anyway, the 3D settings are there. You can turn on anything you want. You can turn off anything you want. The same with the theme borders. So you've got this really nice GUI. And of course, this one only has the option for off because it is already on. So you don't have an on and off, you only have an off. If you click off and it's now off, you go back there again, open the themes manager. You're on the same theme. You're on the same manager that you were before. But now you've got the borders back and you've got the on option. Let's just go back to the normal standard orange theme. There we go. So in a nutshell, it's one GUI that transforms according to what is needed. Right now you have just a normal theme, normal window manager, no 3D, and so it gives you those options. But if you turn it on and then you go and open up the 3D manager, the theme manager again, you're going to see now it's changed. So it's the same manager, just different options. Okay, let's turn that off again. If you go into your settings manager, you're going to notice that there's three themes in 3D as well, so you can access it from there too. And if you actually turn on the themes in 3D, let's turn it on again. Although I could have done it from the settings manager, but that doesn't matter. You'll notice you've got 3D borders settings there, you've got 3D settings there, and you have the themes in 3D manager as well. I put those in case somebody just wants to go straight to borders or straight to, then I don't have to go through a third-party GUI. You'll also notice that the options are missing here for the normal window manager. So let's turn this off again. Let's go and turn off. And you'll see once that is off and you've got the settings manager open, you've got Windows Manager tweaks, workspaces, and window manager here. These are for the XFWM Windows Manager, XFCE Windows Manager, okay? But when you turn on 3D, the XFCE Window Manager obviously doesn't work anymore because it's been turned off. So let's turn that on quickly. And so if you turn that on and you go to Settings Manager now, come on, let's just close and reopen. Open up Settings Manager now, you'll see that is gone. The Window Manager is gone, Window Manager tweaks is gone, and the workspaces are gone, but the 3D settings are there. And of course, if you turn it off again, let's turn it off. Okay, sorry. Turn it off, and you'll notice now that they are back and the 3D settings are gone. So it's fully integrated into XFCE. It doesn't just simply turn on 3D and turn 3D off. It actually makes changes back into the system as well. It actually completely removes the window manager of the one, replaces it with the other, and then does a reverse when you switch it back. One of the problems we had with the previous version of Core was that if you set 4 workspaces, which is the default amount that we set, and you switch on 3D and you switch 3D off again, it would default to 1. As you can see now, I've switched on and off many times and it stays at 4 workspaces, which is nice. However, if you do set like 6 or 8 workspaces and you turn on and off, it probably will default to 4. Okay, because we've set it. That's the default amount that we've set. Okay, so that out of the way, let's quickly look at the workspaces. There are a couple of ways to access your workspaces. As you can see, each one has a little number there. 1, 2, 3, 4. It says workspace 1, 2, 3, 4. And you've got a little indicator here that's got 1 on it currently, meaning I'm on workspace 1. Now, if you open up something, you're going to actually see a preview of it, of that app on the workspace. So that indicates to you where that workspace is. You can either change workspace by simply just, because when you put your mouse over it zooms, you can just click on workspace 2, the number changes to 2, 3, 4, or you can just roll your mouse wheel. You can just roll the wheel of the mouse to whichever workspace you want. Okay, so you can either hold the mouse wheel there, hold the mouse and roll the wheel, or you can actually click on the little windows and change workspaces. If we go and we turn on the 3D, so let's go to 3D quickly and we turn on the 3D effects, and then we go and hold the mouse there and we roll the wheel, you see that it will actually do the whole flip cube thing. So very quick and easy way of swapping through workspaces now is flipping the cube just by rolling the mouse wheel, or you can do the same by just actually clicking on a specific desktop and it will just flip the cube through the workspace switcher, which is really nice, by the way. Now, if we open up something with the 3D on and we actually hover the mouse over the little icon on the panel there, it will actually show you a little preview window of the item. So that's nice. So there are some nice options with the 3D. Of course, if we actually hold the Control and Alt and then drag the window, it won't actually drag a cube, it will drag a cylinder. So you've got both the cube and the cylinder that are in play with the actual compass here. Of course, on the workspace switcher you'll see the cube, but if you manually drag it you'll see, and if you drag the window you'll see the cube, but when you actually drag this with the mouse and the Control Alt, it will actually switch to the cylinder view. Not only switch to cylinder view, it will actually have that little sort of drop back little reflection at the bottom as well. Okay, so you've got some really nice options here with 3D, and of course, like I said, you can switch things on and off. 3D works well out of the box with all of the effects. It's really, really stunning, flawless. There are not many issues with 3D at all. That being said, maybe your device supports it, maybe it doesn't, maybe you will have no issues with it, maybe you will. It is an optional feature. Okay, it is dependent on hardware and drivers and things like that, because it is a window manager. So don't expect it to be bugless inside actual VirtualBox. It works like a charm, and on most hardware I think it will actually run really well. Now, if you do reboot your system, 3D will automatically be turned off, so it will not stay on after reboots. The reason for that is we found issues with the actual 3D scripts loading properly on rebooting on some hardware, not all hardware, and therefore it's just better to avoid such issues. So it will turn itself off after reboot, and in that case you can just go turn it on again. Simply just right click. Like if I reboot it now, I would just right click themes and turn it on. That's it. Very easy to turn on. If we actually look at settings manager, let's run through just a couple of things here. One, hot corners. So as you know, you've got the full screen menu in the top hot corner, and you've got the ring menu in the bottom hot corner. There's the top left, bottom left, so you can configure actions. You can also set actions for the top right and bottom right as well. You can also screen edges, workspaces, and stuff like that affect your hot corners. You can also configure that, so you've got a nice little hot corner configurator there. You've also got a full screen gesture system. I'm not going to get into that now, that's a whole video on its own, but basically it adds some touch features to the OS, which is really nice. Then you've got your ring menu over here. If you open up that, it will actually open up the known Pi ring menu settings, so you can actually set the ring menu settings. Okay, and then you've got your normal stuff like terminal, screensaver, preferred apps, and so forth, so forth, so forth. You go down, you've got display, keyboard, power manager, printers. That's all pre-installed and configured. You've got Samba Share in there, and software center, software sources, and your user and groups, and driver manager, and all of the rest. Right. Screen share is so that people can connect to this PC. Okay, so you basically share the screen. It's like remote desktop, but so they can connect to you, not you to them. So there's a nice little option here. I actually made this GUI myself. So it's got a little video help guide, start, blah blah blah, status check, disable, enable. So it's really nice because it allows people to easily and quickly connect to you. Now this option basically gets it came into big play with GNOME. Many people that use GNOME are quite used to screen share options, but since it's not really supported in XFCE, I had to sort of add it manually and then design an actual GUI to be able to use it. But it's fully functional and it works. The testing team test it all the time. So you've got screen share, which is really nice. You've also got cloud backup, which is nice. If you open up the cloud backup, it will actually take you to, as you can see, it will actually take you here. No machine is a single account. If you, let's just go single account. Here you can actually add a backup, and it supports. Let's go next. You can actually, oh geez, actually I don't want to go through all of these settings now, but it's a nice little backup service that supports Google, Microsoft, Cloud Share. It supports many options for backing up your system. So that's really nice. It's like an all-in-one backup. A lot of people that know it probably maybe you should go read up about it. It has lots and lots of options. I don't want to go through that now. I don't want to bloat this video, make it too long. Okay, and then help and support obviously just pops up this nice little GUI pop-up that sort of takes you everywhere you want to go. So basically, in a nice little neat package, Core is matured. The last thing, something I wanted to speak about and I almost forgot, let's just quit that back up there, was the actual background manager. Now this has gone through a little bit of a change as well, because the original Core had basically changing wallpapers and configuring wallpapers. I think those are the only two options. And then we added a random next and previous, so randomly go to the next wallpaper and then go to the previous wallpaper just by clicking next and previous. The buttons are nice and big, so if you do use a touch screen, that's nice. Configuring wallpaper options opens up the actual variety where you can change the options. Selecting a wallpaper will open up the ribbon where you can actually go and click on a wallpaper, select the wallpaper, and then close. And then of course the options here to center, scale, stretch, zoom, or set the wallpaper to no wallpaper at all. So none will just set it to a blank background, stretched, zoomed, and of course according to your monitor or your resolution you can choose whichever option. So that is something that was requested and it was not in the old Core. You've also got desktop settings like the clock. You can turn icons on and off. Do keep in mind that you do have an actual customize button here where you can actually go and turn icons on and off as well, and go to monitor preference and then just set everything on the desktop. So that is functional in an actual system customize option. I've just also added some of those features into desktop clock and desktop background so that when you're doing one, you don't have to go into a separate GUI to do the other as well. Like if you're setting wallpaper, you will most likely want to stretch, scale, and zoom it, right? And you might want to turn off some desktop icons, to see what's behind there on the wallpaper, whatever. So these are common things that you like to set with your wallpaper, and so they're there available. The same with the clock. If you want to put your clock to the left, you might want to disable the icons. So instead of going to the customize, going here to desktop settings and turning off the icons and then going back to your clock and then moving it, you can now just do it from the same GUI without having to navigate all over the show. So basically, I've just tried to make things easier with, user friendliness and usability. If you do open certain items on the dock, they will just show a little indicator. It looks like a little sun. So it's showing that item is open. And if you do click on the item, it will give like a little animation, like a little blue flare kind of animation. And if you do open up something that's not on the dock or like a third-party app or something like the Software Center, it will open up here next to this switcher, okay, that workspace switcher. So that's about, in a nutshell, I guess, mostly from the front end, everything you need to know. There's not much really installed, so there's not really a lot for me to run through. Makulu Constructor is installed by default, so it is part of the system. You get gparted and grub and most of the Samba share and all the default options. Uku kernel update utilities here, which is nice because by default GNOME has kernel 5.4, but if you open up Uku you can go all the way up to 5. Whatever the nearest one is right now, 5.7 point something. So that's nice, easy for you to install the newest kernel. And yeah, so that's about it, I think. Just about. Yeah, that's Core in a nutshell. Very nice and simplified. We simplified everything. We made everything so much more user friendly, and we did not bloat the system. Very important, we did not bloat the system. So and not just that, what looks like a very plain desktop can quickly turn into something really pretty and nice. Just with a click and you've got your 3D on, and suddenly your desktop does not look so plain anymore, and it just adds that whole new life to it. The menus are nice. You can just hold your mouse there for a second. You've got that ring menu. You can open up the full screen menu. Maybe that's what you like. Maybe you like the full screen menu. It's easy to scroll with a mouse wheel, and if you're using touch screen, this is perfect, for touch big fingers. So yeah, and of course, if you prefer just the main normal standard traditional menu, you've got your little main menu over there. To log out or quit, over there is the quit button. As you can see, volume rocker next to the below that, or battery below that, system notifications below that, your network below that, and of course your clock option. These two icons do tend to sometimes swap around. Sometimes the clock is above the network, sometimes it's below, but it's still there. Okay, so that's it. That's about it. Just covering some of the basics. Yeah, so that's Core in a nutshell. A very nice operating system. It's got some flair. It's got some, if you like plain, then it will be plain. If you like, sorry man, let's just quickly, I know a lot of people probably do know Cairo, but a couple of people might not know Cairo dock. So if you right click the actual dock and you open up the configuration, you'll see, wow, look at all these options. That's behavior, appearance, files, internet, desktop, accessories, system, fun. And not just that, let's go back here. You can, for example, click on something. You can click on system, and then that will open up a whole bunch of other settings. Wow, can you customize this dock? I really, really like this. I like Cairo dock, I really do. It's actually one of my favorites. Originally, I wanted to use it. I'm not sure why I went with Plank at the time. I think it just suited my needs. But yeah, it is a nice dock, and it actually integrates well into the system the way it is now. So that's it in a nutshell. That breaks down Core in its current build, or its current stage of development. As you can see, everything's functional, runs stable, runs well. I'm still busy working on some GUI, still adding stuff. I'll probably still redo some of the wallpapers and some of the theme options and so forth. But yeah, just out of the box, wow, does this run well, and does it look pretty? And it's miles, and I tell you this with a straight face, this is miles better than the last Core build we released. Miles better. Just so many options and customizability, and just so much more control of your desktop environment that you didn't have before with the old Core. Miles above the old Core build that we released earlier, like I think it was beginning of the year, or was it the end of last year. This is miles ahead of that, miles. So yeah, I think you guys will like this desktop. It really is an all-in-one desktop. It can be plain if you want it to be plain. It can be snazzy if you want it to be snazzy. Anyway, so that's Core. So now you've seen it. Still work in progress, but out of the box works well, runs well, and feels good. Feels really, really good. So that's it. I didn't want to make the video too long. I guess I blew that. But yeah, this is Core in its current development stage, or wherever it is right now. And I'm sure things are still going to change. I'm still looking for ways to improve it. Every day I work on it. Every single day I work on it. And I'm always finding ways to improve it. So yeah, I'm sure before the actual public release, I'll probably find another 100 ways to improve it. But right now, it's running really well, and it's looking good, really, really good. Stable, rock solid, stable, even with 3D. Do you know how difficult it is to make an operating system? Throw all of this crap in there. 3D and GUIs and menus and conky scripts and these menus from hot corners and stuff, and docks and multi-docks. And do you know how difficult it is to make all this stuff work in the first place, and then have them work in a stable way, so that one doesn't break the other, or opening up something doesn't freeze your screen, or turning on 3D and turning off 3D and at the same time opening up something else. It's not easy. I tell you, it's not easy. So you have to appreciate the beauty and uniqueness of Core because of that. It has all of these functions. It can be a very plain desktop, and it can also be this highly customizable, unique, snazzy desktop. and at the same time it doesn't lose its stability, just always keeps running stable. Anyway, so that's it. Looking forward to releasing this, and I'm sure you guys are looking forward to using it and playing with it, and yeah, hopefully it's in your hands soon. I have to say, we are going to be sending a copy out to all the people that donate to the project. I saw a couple of guys did donate. Thank you for that. So I will be sending a copy to you guys. I also see a whole bunch of guys just donating $1, just probably to get their hands on it. I'm not even sure if I'm going to send it to those guys. I mean, I want to, but at the same time, I'm thinking, geez, isn't that just like a middle finger at me? I don't know. I'll have to sit and think on that. I don't want to be an asshole, but at the same time, it's like, anyway, I'll see how I feel on that day. To the actual guys that actually donated to us, thank you, and I'll send a copy to you guys. The guys that support the project on a monthly basis, you guys will get it first before anybody else. And then to the public, well, there's a new version of XFCE that's scheduled to go out in November. XFCE 4.16. Now, I'm not sure. I don't expect any problems with it, but I do think that they did do a lot of GTK 3, changes to the system, made it more GTK 3 friendly. I'm not sure how that affects us yet, especially with the themes, but I don't think it's wise for us to release before that. So what we'll do is we'll release it now, early builds for people to play with, although that will be marked as development builds, and then we'll probably just wait for the 4.16 to come out. I'll probably even get my hands on an early build maybe of that before it actually gets released to public, and then I'll just run through everything, just make sure that it doesn't break the system, that we are compatible with it, because remember, although Core isn't only XFCE, it is built on the XFCE framework, so a lot of what the XFCE developers do may just affect Core. I have no idea at this stage what kind of influence that 4.16 will have on our system. So I'll have to get my hands on that. Maybe get like a pre-release or something, early development build. I'll reach out and see if I can get it, and then just run through it to make sure that nothing gets broken. And if I have to adapt anything, then I do. That's what I do. So if there's a lot of stuff that's broken, it might delay our release. I'm hoping not, and I don't expect anything to be broken. But yeah, if not, we'll probably release sometime around the end of November. So what, 2 months, 8 weeks, about 9 weeks or whatever. The guys that donate will get it this month. I'm not exactly sure the date this month, but you'll get it this month, as in, well, it's already the 21st. You'll probably get it in, I was hoping, the next 2 weeks, and I'm still pretty much on target for that. So yeah, say by the end of this month, maybe the first week of next month, but I'm pretty confident you'll get it before the end of this month. Anyway, that's it. I've made this video far too long already, but wow, it's Core. I mean, just look at this. Wow, huh? So pretty, just so pretty, runs so well. Anyway, that's it from me. And I will catch you guys on the next video. This was just a sort of a quick breakdown of what to expect, especially for the guys that want to donate to get their hands on an early build. Remember, it's now the 21st of September. Before the end of this month, I'm going to release an early build to anybody that donates to our project. I'm trying to build a cash flow, so this is my way of motivating people to maybe make a contribution. If you do, then you will secure yourself a development copy of MakuluLinux Core. Otherwise, if you're one of the public guys, you're kind of just gonna have to wait until the end of November. So that's it, guys, and yeah, I'll put some links below for the donations in case you guys do want to donate. You can find the links below the video, and feel free to comment, leave any comments on anything that you see, any feedback, any questions, anything that you might want to give any kind of input on. And if your mouth is watering and drooling for it and you want to just talk about it, feel free to comment as well. I welcome all feedback. So that's it. There's a lot, obviously, that I haven't showed you back end, but I didn't want to make this video a 4-hour video. So yeah, I think this kind of this kind of just gives you a good idea of what Core is all about out of the box. Anyway, that's it, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Keep well, stay safe, and cheers.